Tim and Sid. Time for Tim and Sid. Time for Tim and Sid. Time for Tim and Sid.
Oh, yeah. It's time for real sports talk with Tim McCallum and Sid Sexero.
Thank you, Sheepdogs. Back for another full hour here on Tim and Sid. Coming up, Chris Johnson will join us for more on what's happening with the Leafs right now.
Well, we begin this hour with basketball. That's right, kids. Basketball just days away from training camps opening across the NBA. This Saturday, Raptors Media Day in Toronto before the team leaves for training camp in Quebec City. They begin their preseason schedule on October 8th in Tokyo, where they'll play 2 games against the Rockets. Yao Ming? Get it? You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Sorry, it was like an old hip-hop lyric. You can see both of those games on Sportsnet live at 6 a.m. Eastern. After that, they will return to Toronto to take on the Bulls and wrap up their exhibition schedule against the Nets on Long Island.
We are now joined in studio by 2 men who have contractually made me say the following before bringing them on.
Oh, boy.
Congratulations to both Michael Grange and Matt Devlin, who have been named by Sports Media Canada the 2019 Achievement Award recipients in both sports writing and broadcasting, respectively. Ladies and gentlemen, award winners. Breaking news! Breaking news! Michael Grange does not want to be named in the same category as Matt Devlin.
By the way, can I just say this? By the way, he is a brilliant writer.
That kind of guy.
He is a brilliant writer.
I love that, yes.
And he is a brilliant writer. There's no question about that.
Louder.
And he's a brilliant writer. Way smarter than I am. I couldn't write what he writes. And to be named, I think, by your peers is really cool. And ultimately, if it didn't happen for me this year, I don't think it ever would have happened. The storyline was pretty much right out there for you.
That is an amazing point. You know, it's like
it took the team to win it all.
All right,
now Michael on the other hand, Michael on the other hand, as we know, he's accomplished. He's written books and
leather-bound books.
Books and has a pipe and sits there with the
That's the greatest.
Mahogany.
That's all.
Mahogany and leather.
Well,
Good hair, good voice,
good friends,
guy.
good food,
good sense of humor.
So when is the ceremony? So when you guys
congratulations for real.
No, honestly,
said contractually.
I'm not even kidding. This is amazing honor. Voted on by a group of your peers. Dave and Rob Peers were the only 2 votes.
Didn't you guys get promoted or something this week?
Yes, it is.
It is a promotion?
Is it a promotion?
Why? Because it involves more money for you two.
I'm actually going to be able to,
I mean, so from that standpoint, let's,
As one of those guys that has things to do between 5 and 7 and only sees your show when I'm on it, I'm very excited about you being back on the radio.
We still love you to be on the show, though.
I watch you guys way more, as you know.
Yeah.
Because I'm typically home
Yeah.
from 5 to 7.
So do you think this is a good thing for us?
I think because
let's have the conversation live on air.
Let's talk more about you guys because I know that's what you like.
Whatever Johnny Award hair.
It was the one broadcasting class that I got an A in, by the way, was hair. So it worked out. Thank you very much. Yes.
How long ago was that, though?
That was like 50 years ago. But anyway, no, I think it's going to be great for you guys. Okay. And the reason being is that it's putting more money in your pocket. And
I sense a theme with you.
Could we do this? Could we do this though in the future when you're on radio? Could we just call in? Do we still have to come in?
Yeah.
No, you can call in. I'd like to see your faces because I'm a fan.
Okay, but you don't pay for
you can call in as well.
Fancier microphone.
Well, you guys are going to have to change up your. You're going to have to change things up just a little bit to simulcast.
No?
We're going to have to change a lot.
Sid's going to take care of that.
By the way, we're going up back on Sportsnet 590 The Fan, 5 to 7 daily, beginning October 14th, in case people were a little confused. Okay. That's what's happening. But
Matt and I get our big award November 14th.
November 14th.
Right, buddy?
Way to upstage us, but thank you.
I more than likely will not be there.
You won't be there.
You're not going to be there?
Well, we're on the road in Portland, Oregon, the night before, and we play at Dallas, I think, on that Saturday. And quite
tough
possibly, quite possibly could make it back. There's a flight through Chicago that
That
gets
always
in at
works.
around 11
Let's be honest. Let's
in
be
November.
honest. Someone courtside of the Raptors is already going to give you their private plane.
Oh,
You and I
set
both
it
know
up
that's
right
going to
now.
happen.
Yeah.
There's
You and
some
I
private
both
jets
know
out
that's going to
there.
happen.
Yeah.
Somebody courtside who will
You
go
say it,
unnamed.
and it may happen.
May
It may happen.
It may happen. if
So
you say
just
it.
send a video with you in a hot tub or something. Like just give an acceptance speech. So you're going to be there by yourself? What?
No, he's going to have his family.
I'm going to say.
But you got the
Hundreds
stage
of
to
people
yourself.
and blah, blah,
You have
blah.
to share it with Matty D.
I'm just saying. It's
Oh,
just,
he likes
I
it.
mean,
He's okay with it?
you know, it's about time. It's about time.
More about
Seriously,
Grange.
congratulations to
All
both
More
of you.
three-point Grange.
You guys are
Only.
you guys are phenomenal, and congratulations to the both of you. One is clearly better than the other. But thank you both for coming in. And this isn't a competition, but clearly one of you won.
Right.
So thank you. We're both
I'm not going to tell you who.
No.
So we're talking basketball. What seems early, but media day is Saturday.
Yeah.
And
wild.
I feel like the earliest questions might be the hardest questions on this team. What are the expectations on this edition of the Toronto Raptors, and what should they be? I'll start with you, Matty, because I think Sid was talking about you.
Okay, well, I thank you. So I think that this team is going to be a good team, and I think you can't underestimate what they're going to do. I think that once again, they are put into a position where they'll have a chip on their shoulder, and they always perform well when that is the case. They were 17-5 without Kawhi last year during the regular season, so that to me is not really the question, right? They're going to be good. They're going to be a top 3 team, I think, in the East. And then ultimately, as this season unfolds, not only for them, but also other teams, we will see what Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster decide to do as we head toward that trade deadline. But I think that this is going to be a really good team. I do. And maybe I'm one of the few, but I think that this is a team, when you look at the additions, don't underestimate the Stanley Johnsons of the world. He's 23 years old. Matt Thomas coming over. I like that. Why I've been talking about it, you and I have talked about this in the past. When you think about three-point shooting in today's game, you look around the world, you say, okay, there's a lot of guys that can shoot the three. Go find one of them. And they did. And they got him at a good price, right? So I really like the additions that they made. Rondé Hollis-Jefferson has always played well against the Toronto Raptors. So, this is a team, to me, that is going to be a top 3 team in the East.
Better than one of Milwaukee, Philly,
or
and
Boston. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a big Boston guy.
You a Boston guy, Mike?
I am, to the extent that I think they have a chance to be better, because I think their chemistry could be better.
Yeah.
I like Boston a lot better than when I watched Team US. Before I watched Team USA at the World Cup, when I was like, okay, maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But I agree with Matt. I think expectations are going to be high, and they should be high. I think they're going to be internally high. I think there was a little vibe around that team last year. Where they felt like it was, Kawhi and the backup singers kind of thing. And obviously it wasn't like kind of critical to team chemistry, but I think there was, when they had the opportunity to shine, those guys enjoyed the opportunity to shine. I think you look at what Kyle Lowry gave up as an offensive catalyst to make room for an emerging Pascal Siakam, and certainly for Kawhi Leonard. I think there's a lot more he can give. So I don't think it's going to be as hard in the regular season to replace what Kawhi Leonard gave. I think the challenge is going to be when you get in maybe that second round realm of the NBA playoffs, when all of a sudden, what he provided is you can't replace.
Is there?
So, but I think from the regular season, I think they can set themselves up well.
And to build on what Michael said, look at Pascal Siakam and the growth of him as a player. And you think about Fred VanVleet, and then also OG Anunoby. Is this a year where he breaks through, right? This is his golden opportunity right now. So
Norman Powell too.
And
Those two
right,
guys.
and Norman Powell for sure, right? So, maybe this is their time. So the regular season, to me, that is not, they're going to be a highly competitive, really good team with a chip on their shoulder. There may not be a championship hangover with this team, because this is a team that was the first team in NBA history to go to the NBA Finals without a lottery pick, the first team ever to win it. So Masai built a team full of guys that had a point to prove. To your point about Kawhi masking some of the other talents on this team, now everybody's like, okay, fine. You know, Kawhi's not going to be here. Everybody thinks we're not going to be any good. Well, we'll show you.
Yeah.
Pascal Siakam, most improved player, NBA champion. Obviously, he's going to be a focal point here. Without Kawhi on the floor, how does he handle that attention defensively? What kind of Pascal are we going to see, Mike, do you think, to start the year? And obviously, he'll learn as the year goes on, but to begin the year, where do you think his headspace is going to be at, and how will he handle all that extra attention?
I think he's going to be fine. I think he was, good in the regular season last year. I think, the regular season, there's so much flow game to game, and teams don't really have the time to drill down and go at your weaknesses the way we've seen they do in the playoffs. So I think he'll take a step up. I think what he did in the postseason, let alone the regular season last year, will rightfully fill him with a lot of confidence. We know he's not a complacent guy, so I can only imagine what he's worked on in the offseason that's going to make him better equipped. He saw firsthand when, sharing a stage with Kawhi Leonard what it takes to be a go-to guy. Will he be prepared to do that again in the crucible of the playoffs? It's impossible to know. It's a lot to ask. But we'll find out, I'm sure. So I think he's going to be an all-star. I think I think he's going to take another big step. And there's a ton of room for optimism. I don't see him running into any great walls or hurdles in the regular season, at least.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. And I would say this, that I think we saw during the playoffs, teams attacking him defensively, right, after big nights that he had. And I think during the postseason, he started to learn some of that. Here's a fascinating thing, and I've shared this with a lot of people over the course of the summertime. I'll never forget early on in the season, because as you know, they really wanted Pascal to initiate the offense, get a rebound, go, right? And he struggled with that during, the early part of the regular season, throwing the basketball out of bounds, dribbling it off of his foot. You could see all of that happening. And we had a rare off day, and Nick Nurse and I were sitting down having a coffee talking basketball, which is, if anybody loves talking hoops, Nick has been around the world, right? More than once coaching basketball. And he said something to me that, really resonated. And you think about who Pascal became last season. And it was discussing the turnovers. And, I asked him about, how long do you allow for this, right? And he said that I don't want to rein him in. If I rein him in now, we'll never know who we think he can become. And so we're working with him. And I'm willing to live with these mistakes now because we believe, and he believes, right, that this is the sort of player he can become. Ultimately, he was that. Mm-hmm. But think about that, right? The pressure that Nick was under in year number one after taking over for Dwayne Casey, that they were, it wasn't about the regular season and they won 58 games. They had 22 different starting lineups, but they were allowing this young player to evolve. And this team, do not underestimate the development. Patrick McCall, don't forget about him, and Stanley Johnson coming over, and what they've been able to do. I think that they're going to surprise people.
Less than a minute and a half here in this one, but I've heard, despite the fact that we're not validating your parking, that you might stick around for another segment. Are you guys surprised that Pascal hasn't been extended yet?
No. I mean, it's a big negotiation, and I do think it's going to get done. I know there's been some dialogue. They started it in Vegas. They've met again in recent weeks. So I don't think that there's any incentive for them to get it done, before October 21st, which is the deadline. But there's no downside to them, really. I don't think giving him a full max extension, because he'll either be the focal point of your team the next 5 years, or he'll be your most tradable asset.
Mm-hmm. Right.
All right. So you guys can stay? Because I'm enjoying this right now.
Well,
I don't know if you guys are. I'm thoroughly enjoying this.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Got some plum sauce in the back if you want.
I can.
I can't stay.
Hold on. What time
well,
is it?
I mean,
I do
He's
have
on
to.
the I just won an award schedule.
Well, I do have to be someplace, but that's fine.
Where do you have to be? Honestly, where do you have to be?
No, it's
Becker's is closed. Where are you going?
I'll stay if he stays.
it's
Breakthrough.
it's the Elevate Tech Week. You guys know that here in
the hell are you
town.
talking about?
And so, I'm just telling you.
There's a
that-
tech thing. I'm serious.
What do you know about tech?
What do you know about tech? We
He's
building
probably a
robots?
spokesman. He's probably-
you
he's
kidding me? I
probably
learned a
made
lot
money
from
today.
Jack
He's probably
Armstrong.
made money
Yeah,
today.
you're just winding your
Were you an
watch.
MC today? Were you cashing MC checks today? Yes, you were.
Oh, look at that.
Yes, you were.
All right, welcome back to Tim and Sid. We continue our roundtable with Michael Grange, award winner. Matt Devlin, award winner. Sid Sixero and Tim McAuliffe.
One day we'll have a thing.
One day.
One day.
One day.
All right, gentlemen. So you think the Raptors are a top 3 team in the East?
Yeah, fourth at the.
Fourth at the.
Yeah.
And you're
Yeah, I go with
about that. Okay.
They're hosting in round 1.
Let's paint a picture where things don't go that way.
Okay.
Let's paint a picture where they're 7th, 8th, 9th in the East.
I don't see that picture.
No, but please walk with me, Matt.
Okay.
Mac Daddy, walk with me
Okay.
down the trail. They're 7th, 8th, 9th in the East. That February 7th trade deadline is approaching.
Right.
Marc Gasol's deal is up. Serge Ibaka's up. Kyle Lowry's up.
Fred VanVleet's up.
Fred VanVleet's up. Thank you. If you're Masai Ujiri, where do you guys need to be in the standings for you to think it might be time to turn the page on some of these guys?
Let me say this. You may turn the page and be in the top 3 because of who you may be able to bring in, right? So let's not forget about that scenario as well, that there might be a player out there.
You're not talking about some Greek guy.
No,
6'10".
no, I'm not
Okay.
thinking.
All right,
I'm
okay.
not-
I don't want to get hit for tampering.
Okay.
I don't want to get hit for tampering. Don't even bring it
No,
up.
I'm not thinking.
It's not.
But,
Don't even bring it
but
up.
I think that all options are there. And then I think, as we all know, that in today's NBA, the mentality really is a reload. You do not have to linger for many years. If you have a really strong development program, Raptors do, right? It's evident. And you do a superb job in drafting, essentially they have, right? That you can look at your roster, make a deal, and elevate really fast.
I think that I'll disagree with that. I think if they stumble into some injury problems, which I think is their real risk, they are an older roster. I think they don't have a ton of depth at point guard, as an example. Marc Gasol played over 100 games this year, so I think
Had 2 really good celebrations.
that's right. Yeah, talk about
Really
a
good
talk about a championship hangover.
Shut up, Marc Gasol.
But anyway, so I could see them if they're kind of middling. I could see Masai Ujiri being really aggressive and seeing what he could get for some of those expiring deals, and he's never rebuilt this team. He inherited it, as we all remember, and thought he was going to rebuild it, didn't need to, and he's we all know what he's done since. But everything does come to an end, and I don't see any real scenarios where you're taking the team as it exists this year with the players that are going to be free agents next summer and kind of not having to make some kind of dramatic move. The summer of 2020-21 is not a great free agent class. So I don't see them. I would see if I see them being really aggressive and really determined to get the most out of this kind of last rodeo type deal. But if it's not working out, and for whatever reason it's not working out, I think they would try to be ahead of the game in terms of.
And as I pointed out, that even if it is working out, I think that they'll look at, because there will be teams that maybe in your scenario that have a lot of money locked into some players that maybe Masai and Bobby believe would help this program, not necessarily this season, or not only this season, but then also seasons to come.
Right.
And you're able to take an expiring deal to bring in somebody, right, that has signed a big deal. And then all of a sudden, as you project out to the free agent class of 2021, then
So
you see.
you're trading for your free agent versus signing one.
Yeah.
And I think that Toronto has got to the spot where they believe that's the best way to work because free agents haven't exactly been lined up to come here.
Well, they haven't been lined up to go to New York. They haven't been lined up to go to Miami. They haven't been lined up to go to Charlotte.
They didn't go to New York, but they went to Brooklyn.
Yeah, but I know. But
Right?
the point of it is that there's 30 teams, and you could say that about 27 of them right now.
You could. Let me ask this as almost a follow-up. The Canadian media and a lot of Canadians kind of backed up Kyle Lowry today because ESPN had him drop 18 spots in their player rankings. And I understand that. But is this Kyle Lowry's last year in Toronto?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be. It's not because it won't be amicable. I think Kyle Lowry is the ultimate pragmatist. He'll recognize what direction this team is going and where he would fit into it as a 35-year-old and all of that. And so I'd be surprised. And he is going to want to maximize the opportunities that are out there, either financially or to win.
Right.
So and Kyle Lowry, depending on the number, there's a lot of teams where he would fit in really well. So, if I had to bet one way or the other, I think that we'd be saying a warm farewell to Kyle Lowry, who will go down as the greatest Raptor of all time. I don't think that's a bad thing.
Greatest Raptor of all time.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Up to this point, my take.
I don't think he's the greatest. 25 years from now, it might be someone else.
Right. Up to this point. Up to this point. Come on. No, I think when you with Kyle, it depends upon what role he wants to play, right? And he's going to be 35, right? And so, is there a decision to be made for him that, hey, look, I love it here. I do, from a legacy standpoint, want to finish out here. I'm willing to take less here. I mean, there's a lot of different scenarios that come at play. Or does he make the decision, I'll go down to Houston? Yeah, or, well, I don't know how many, I don't know how much money's going to be out there, quite honestly. But, do I go to Houston with what they have, come off the bench, and help them maybe get over the, So there's a couple of those sort of scenarios
He's pretty well
potentially.
in LA too.
Yeah.
I think he fit a lot of places.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would.
But his role definition would be different.
Yes.
For sure.
Who's the best team in the East right now? Is it de facto Milwaukee until proven otherwise?
Or is Philly going to make that step? Because that's all we're all thinking.
I don't know.
Right?
Is Al Horford that much of a difference maker? I'm having a hard time with Philly.
Yeah, I think there's less holes in Milwaukee, and I'm a massive Brogdon fan. I think that was a huge signing by Indiana. I think he was a big part of that team. But I do think that Milwaukee's got a great identity. They've got a clear identity. They've got game 1 to 82 not by far, but definitely the best player in the league. Obviously, the playoffs. Giannis has been shown to be able to be defended. But so I think that they'll be still the class of the East. And Philly, people kind of talk about them like they forget that Jimmy Butler's not there anymore. And Jimmy Butler, as we saw firsthand in the postseason, was their best player.
Yep.
So I'm not 100% clear how Philly is necessarily better having lost Jimmy Butler.
Agreed.
I like what Al Horford gives them in terms of depth and insurance against Embiid either not being on the floor or being injured,
And some
or
maturity.
resting, and maturity, all kinds of great things. But he's not a young guy either.
Right.
So I think the East is still pretty wide open, to be frank. And I can't really look at any team, Boston, Milwaukee, Philly, and Toronto, and say that they definitively have taken a step forward. And you could argue each of them has taken a step back.
And I would say this, do not discount from a coaching standpoint. Nick Nurse proved to be the best coach in the Eastern Conference last year. And then when you think about going up against Steve Kerr, I understand who they did or didn't have, and that really at the end of the day doesn't matter. But he proved to be a superb coach in that scenario as well. So Steve Clifford, everybody thinks he's as good as it gets. Brett Brown, people have talked about how great he is from the tree of Popovich.
Big year for Brett Brown, though, in that market.
Yeah, it's massive.
Big year.
And then Mike Budenholzer got out-coached, flat out-coached by Nick Nurse and then Steve Kerr. So, the one thing, Nick is real. He's like Michael as a writer. He's pretty brilliant when it comes to being able to read the situation. Despite you have all this preparation work, a game unfolds in front of you, and he's able to figure that out really quick. And to me, he's the best coach in the Eastern Conference by far.
I know we only have 40 seconds here, Tim, so forgive me, because I know you hate when I do this. You guys cool with retiring number 2?
It's a hard question.
No, I
Which is
wouldn't.
why
I
you
wouldn't
said-
retire.
You wouldn't retire?
I wouldn't. No. Can
Come
I-
back, give him a ring, retire his jersey?
I don't think you retire him now.
No, I'm not saying now. I'm saying at some
Why not?
point.
Yeah, I'm good with it. I'm good with it. I mean, that championship was so special.
Really,
He
retire?
was so essential to it. You know, we could be here 30 years from now and there wouldn't be another championship. So, you know, I personally don't have a big problem with it.
Before that, I would say this. I know that you have the Legends row with the Maple Leafs. I think you can go ahead and start with the Raptors. And I think that Kawhi deserves to be there, and I think Kyle does. I think DeMar DeRozan does as
Absolutely.
well.
Yeah.
And if you want to put Vince in there as well, I'm good with that. And you can start that process with those 4 players for sure.
But number
1000%.
retiring, you're not comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, look at
Matty's old school. You got to do it for more than 1 year.
He can't be the first one.
No, I'm a little.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
it can't be the
I'm a
first.
little indifferent to it, you know. I'm a little, I think, look at the New York Yankees or the Boston Celtics, how many of them they've retired. So for some reason, I'm a little indifferent to it. I think let's start with the statue first, because I do think that in an odd way. But I don't think you automatically, you're not handing out number 2 anytime soon. I will say that.
The Raptors talk about retiring things because they don't have the history. It's like when you're talking about the Yankees, I mean, we're talking about all-time legends. And because the Raptors don't have that yet, people want to retire names that shouldn't be retired. But we can just wait.
Right.
Wait.
Yeah. How about
Maybe
15?
Kyle's your guy.
How about 15? Do you start at 15?
right?
7 for sure is going up in the rafters.
7
So
for
let's
sure.
just-
Does 15 go up?
After Matt Devlin's statue gets made.
After someone who wanted to be here. Your guys, hey, your guys.
Yeah, but wait a minute.
Your guys,
Wait a minute. You just said number.
your guy's statue would go up in here. Number 2 didn't want to be here?
No,
Yeah, but he bought you the championship.
he didn't buy the championship.
No, he brought you.
No, he said brought. He
Brought
said
you the
He
championship.
showed up and went to work.
He did. He was
Which was
he was
respectful.
phenomenal.
Shut his mouth, did his job, and won a championship.
Listen,
He was spectacular.
Wish I
was
could get that in
spectacular.
here. Well, it's not never mind.
One miracle at a time, McCallum. I would retire number 2.
You would.
And in the same breath, I hope he doesn't win a single playoff series with the Clippers. Am I allowed to do that?
Yes.
Okay. Again, congratulations on the awards, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Michael
Yeah,
Grange for writing in this country, Matt Devlin for
Congrats
broadcasting.
on you guys for your.
Well, hopefully we
Can't
can.
wait to hear you in the car. I'm so
Well,
good.
we'll be
That'd be
better if you
great.
guys are on it. So if you guys can come on once in a while and help us out, then
We'll
we'll
phone
be
in.
fine.
We'll
Sid's
phone
got
in
your
for sure.
parking.
I got you.
Sid's got your parking.
I'll talk to Vinny.